Marcus, last week in the fourth quarter, Georgia's defense obviously came up with a big play of the game. The real story, they only had 2 yards of offense in that last quarter. What do you think Georgia can do better to not have so many 3-and-outs? Especially against the Texas A&M defense.
I don't. First of all, I don't want to take credit away from Auburn's defense. It's tough. Those guys are tough. LSU, with all the points they've been putting up this year, only managed 23 against Auburn's defense. So I would like to think that had a lot to do with it. And obviously, earlier in the year, you saw some things with Georgia's offense as far as play calling and all that. I think they're fine. I think Georgia's just making their mind up that they want to pound people. And if it continues to work like it has, I don't know if you get away from it. Now, it may come to a point where they play LSU, obviously, in the SEC championship, and they need points on the board. We'll see what happens. But as of right now, no need.
Feel that. Well, you've got called play calling. Last week, Georgia took a shot in the first, second quarter from the ball down the field. Do you think they need to take more shots, more vertical?
It just depends, man. It's hard to say that. And I'm one of those people that don't. I think situationally, you wait to see what arises in the game to see if that's available. I'm not necessarily one of those guys where you need to come out with your mind made up that we need to throw the ball deep 10 times. That doesn't work. The game dictates how you call the game. Earlier this year, I thought it was just very close to the cuff and vanilla when at times it should have been more open. But this last game, I had absolutely no problems with either the play calling, because what you're doing at that point is just trying to make sure that you can keep the ball away from Auburn, especially at the end when they start making a run. You want to get first downs. Everybody wants to score touchdowns, but sometimes it's just not that. That's not the game that day. I thought they did a good job. I thought Coley did a great job against Auburn, knowing what they are. They a handful defensively now. It's tough, and to be able to get 21 and the defense playing lights out, there's no need to get risky when your defense is holding them to 0 all the way throughout to the fourth quarter.
Speaking on defense, this is Kellen Mond, a very good quarterback. Really one that Georgia hasn't really faced this year.
Yeah.
What do you think they can do to contain him? Especially those two-headed monster they got in running backs.
Well, the first thing with Kellen is you got to try to keep him in the pocket and make him beat you from there. He really gets going when he rips off a long one on you with his legs, and it makes everything easier for him. And Georgia has to be really careful of A&M. A&M 3 losses are the top 15 teams. So this team has been, they lost I think 28-20 to Auburn. So this is not just some cakewalk. Don't let the schedule fool you. I think they have to be cognizant of that. But the most important thing is to try to keep Kellen in the pocket and make him operate from there and see if he can beat you with his arm. Because if you let him get going with his legs, you can have problems.
I was going to ask you, what is the formula for an A&M upset at Sanford tomorrow?
I think obviously Kellen has to play out of his mind and kind of improvise and make special plays out of plays that possibly are broken, and then possess the football. But they are a physical team. They have the athletes on the outside, as we all know. So I don't think it's not a miracle if A&M beats Georgia or LSU. Georgia, I think, is the better team. Just like when they play LSU next week, I think that'll be the better team. But you better not go in there thinking that.
You a few weeks ago when you were talking about the upcoming Auburn-Georgia game, you talked about Auburn's defense being real man defense. Did Georgia prove something to you, or was it the early taking the top off the defense call? Or did you think
it was a great take the top off the defense call, but I think I respected more about them continuing to pound the rock against that front seven. To me, that proves more about how good you are and effective your run game is than any other game throughout the season. And that's what, I know that's exciting for this coaching staff, because I'm telling you, man, you line up and run the ball on Auburn, you can run on anybody in the country. I think they're good. So it just was it was impressive to see them stay with who they were against Auburn and have success.
With this, and I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, and the weather can change. It's a very fluid situation. But fast forward a little bit to Georgia LSU. Can Georgia stay in this personality and hang with LSU? Do you think?
I'm not sure. The defense to me is top 5 in the country. So will LSU be able to put up 40? Is the first question, and we'll see. I think this game is great, and next week is great because it's a common opponent. And you'll be able to see how both of these teams kind of respond to things that may arise in the game. But I just think Georgia is very difficult to play. I think they are possibly the hardest team to play in the SEC because they play such a nasty, snot-nosed, knock you out. Jake Fromm is good enough to beat you from the pocket, so you don't know. You can't go into Georgia saying we're going to take this away and they will be not as good. Now, obviously, you have questions about the receiving core and health and all of that, but, man, I'm telling you, Jake Fromm is dangerous when he's throwing the football. He showed us that the last 2 years around this time of the season. So I just think it's very difficult to game plan for him. And LSU, from an offensive standpoint, is very difficult to game plan for because there's so many athletes and because of what they're doing offensively, but we can't deny what the defense has been giving up. So when you look at Georgia as far as being the complete team in the SEC, if you was to ask anybody that, it'll be the Bulldogs.
Big picture question here with the RPOs, more quarterbacks running, more quarterbacks are getting hurt, Marcus. Are we going to continue to see this style of offense, or do you think we'll see some regression back to pocket quarterbacks as these star quarterbacks keep going down running the ball?
And it just depends. It depends on how you can operate. I don't think coaches necessarily have ever wanted to put their QBs in harm's way. I've been talking about Lamar's kind of blowing everybody up in the NFL, but when you look throughout the NFL, the traditional pocket passers are the ones that still consistently win in Super Bowls. And I think in college, when you look at guys that operate from the pocket and every now and then are able to use their legs to get out of trouble, that's probably your most effective guy. Look, you just don't want the guy carrying the ball 20 times a game. Eventually, it's going to come. Eventually, the hit going to come, or it's going to be something happen where he get caught and you're going to lose him. So I think coaches would much prefer guys that are not stationary, can scramble and get out of trouble.